slide release is ambidextrous on both sides. The safety is ambidextrous on both sides.
The Nintendo Zapper Ruger LCP, my Wolverine LCP2.
This is a variant of the gun that John Wick used in John Wick 1. He used a P30L, so it's a little bit longer.
But you can see the 38 Special along the top, and it looks like it did almost as much damage as the 38 Special, even though the bullet's only about half the size.
Shoot her! Yes! For science.
Oh! Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're out here on the firing range today with my friend and pastor Ryan, and he's got a really funky piece to share with us today that kind of looks like Jane's gun from Firefly. Oh, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, one of my friends affectionately nicknamed this my Bioshock gun because it kind of looks like the gun you start with in Bioshock. But this is a unique piece. This is a Schofield revolver. It's a Uberti reproduction. Uberti is a company coming out of Italy, I believe. And this is a number 3 Schofield revolver. The thing that makes a Schofield is guns in the Old West would typically either have a trap door that you then used a plunger to knock out all the shells, or more modern guns, the cylinder would flip to the side. In a Schofield, it's very unique. It breaks in half, almost like a shotgun, and then the rod pops the bullets out on their own. And all the shells rain out, and then you reload.
Now,
And
how did you get that to come out of there?
there's a little this little lever,
Right.
and then it does it automatically.
Oh, it just automatically shoots out, and then as you bend it more, it pops
Correct.
back in?
It pops up enough for the shells to be out. Then when it snaps down, all the shells will rain out. And the reason why this was handy for this is called the Russian. It's a Russian variant. It shoots a very odd caliber, very hard to come by. I'm actually getting into reloading ammunition specifically just so I can have bullets for this gun. They're that hard to find, and they're very expensive.
Yeah,
right now,
you mentioned earlier it's about $1 a round.
over $1 a
shoot
shot.
this gun.
Yeah. So you might be wondering why it has the spur. This was a model that was carried by Russian cavalry. So it was specifically, they wanted a gun that they could use, reload easy on the fly, unload easy on the fly, and they wanted to be able to support it with one hand while they held the reins with the other hand. So this spur gave them a little extra stability. And then, of course, when you had to reload, you didn't have to sit here and try and mess with a plunger or knock a cylinder out. It made it a lot easier to load on horseback. And it made you much quicker, frankly. Single action, so you have to pull the first pull on the hammer, frees up the cylinder, but you can't fire, got to pull it all the way back, and you got to pull for each shot. The sights on this are what you would expect more from turn of the century, because again, this would have been a gun from the early 20th.
Those are the worst sights I've ever seen on a gun, ever.
Just like, it's like I told him, the Russians would say, gun is fine, problem is I. But you just have like the very short sight and then a blade on the front, and that's it.
Yeah, the blade on the front is nice.
This, I did not...
Those back sights are just ridiculous.
Well, part of it is, if you'll notice, when the lever comes up, the sights have to come forward. It's attached to the lever. So,
some might consider that a design flaw. Some might consider that...
Gun is fine. The gun is fine.
But the fact that you can break it forward, like he was saying, would allow you to empty and reload much, much quicker.
And over time, Schofield developed a button. So instead of having this little lever you had to pull, you push a button and it would break in half.
Can that lever be released with one hand? Because you're talking about releasing it on horseback.
The idea, when you had to reload, you'd still be holding onto the reins to get it to this position, and then you could click it back shut. Maybe a good Russian would figure out how to do it like this. I mean, it's doable, but it would be difficult for me because I haven't practiced
You certainly wouldn't be able to reload with one hand, I wouldn't think.
Well, I mean, if you could click it up with one hand, shift it to your hand that's on the reins, and then drop in with your... They figured it out. You wouldn't think that the Russians would be able to use a Mosin Nagant to hold back the Jerrys at Stalingrad either, but they did. And actually, the Ukrainians and Russians are still using Mosin Nagants in the war they're fighting in 2022, even though it was developed over 100 years ago. So anyway, this is more just like a conversation piece that's fun to shoot,
For
but
the record,
not
this is the first gun that I've seen that actually folds in half that isn't a Webley. I'm a big Indiana Jones fan, as people who watch this channel know.
Yep,
And the Webley folds in half like that, but I've never actually fired one because I've only got a prop Webley for the movie that's coming up pretty soon.
coming to a theater near.
No.
Coming to a YouTube channel near you. But yeah, this is what made the Schofield revolvers famous. And revolvers like this were featured in a lot of movies, like 310 to Yuma. The main bad guy carries 2 Schofield revolvers and 45 long Colt.
In Unforgiven, there was the Schofield kid.
Yep, Schofield kid carried Schofield revolvers. So that's where it comes from. So again, because this is very expensive to shoot right now, I'm hoping reloading will reduce the price. I haven't shot it a lot. I'm not super accurate with this gun. It's just fun. And the bullets are kind of interesting. These are 44 Smith & Wesson Russian. And basically, it's a 44 special round that has been shortened down. So in the same way 38 special can be fired out of a 357 Magnum, a 44 special could be fired out of a 44 Magnum. But this is even shorter than that, and this is like the only gun anymore that shoots it. So it's a very small market for these, mostly cowboy shooters. These bullets are moving slow. Compared to the 45 that we shot out of the Punisher gun, I think the pressure coming behind this round is something like 10,000 psi less than a 45. These are moving much slower because it's black powder. It's an old round. Again, this was developed turn of the century.
I would imagine the recoil on that is not horribly pleasant then either, is it?
No, it's not bad at all because there's so much less pressure coming out of the round.
Okay.
So anyway, we're gonna load it up and we'll take a few shots and see what we can do, and then I'll let Wes have a run on it. 5 and 6.
Oh, and one more question. I do cowboy fast draw, and a lot of times we load 5 because you want that hammer empty on. Does this one have that same problem?
Yes. This was invented, so what Wes is referencing is most cowboys, they don't show it in the movies or anything, but they would carry 5 rounds in their revolvers with 1 empty chamber. And they would leave the hammer on the empty chamber because if the gun were to be dropped and the hammer were to hit the ground first, it would hit the bullet with enough force to make the gun go off.
I've seen that happen. Hickok 45 did a video on that where he just hits the back of the hammer and it went off.
Yes, and so that's why they would carry 5. Later on, there was an invention where basically there is a bar that comes in between when you lower the hammer.
Yep, the safety bar or whatever it is they call it.
We got a lot of bugs. That keeps it from being able to do that. This gun does not have that. So yes, if I was carrying this, which I'm not, I would carry it with 5, not 6.
Okay.
But since we're on the range and it's about to go pew, 6 it is. And I think this shoots high.
It's definitely shooting high.
Man, I'm even holding low. Where'd that hit?
High and to the left.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That had to be low.
It's looking high to me.
There you go.
Wow. I was holding that probably 2 feet low.
Wow.
Was that all 6? I think it was all 6. Yeah, that's 6.
Well, it doesn't shoot as bad as Shannon's Derringer.
So
yeah, my Derringer's not good.
I wish we could do a video on that, but
I've learned that a lot of these old revolvers, especially the Uberti reproductions, consistently shoot high. I've seen it with like the new Army 1857 revolver, the black powder revolvers. A lot of times shooters find with these reproductions they do have to hold high. It's just a matter of how high, and I haven't gotten used to it because, like I said, ammo's so expensive, I don't get to shoot this more than a couple times a year.
And we're only at about 10 yards right now, and he's having to aim that low to hit the target at 10 yards.
So
I mean, imagine how low you'd have to aim if we shot one across the river over there.
Oh, I have no idea.
That's insane.
Yeah, so these are...
So that's why they got such crummy sights on that thing, because
they don't matter. They're suggestions.
All
right, Wes, you go ahead and give it a go, see what you can do. But it's funny, you don't feel hardly any recoil on that.
Yeah, with the funky thing right here, it almost feels like for somebody with smaller hands, it's even more awkward.
But if you have small hands, one of the things that's really convenient is wrap your other hand around and use the spur. No. Keep that finger off. There you go.
Like this?
Yeah.
That actually feels quite a bit better.
Yeah. Schofields are notoriously long guns because the action behind the cylinder requires so many parts.
Yeah. And for the record, I mean, holding the gun back here, you've got this huge weight that's just dragging the gun down because the front of it weighs so much and the handle on it is all funky.
Yeah.
So it's like just holding it straight, it feels like it just kind of wants to drop already.
Gunny's fine. Problem is him.
Okay, let's see if I can aim about 2 feet low and see if I
And
can
remember,
get
it's single action. There you go. You're low to the right. Hey, there you go. There you go. He's got it. So how low are you holding?
I'm aiming dead on it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, don't say. He's killing it.
He also looks at sights differently than most people too.
Does
so.
he? Mm-hmm. I think you're out.
Yep.
Yeah, Dirty Harry.
He
I
uses
count.
both eyes.
I count
I
shots.
can't use both eyes.
No, I don't use both eyes. I just use my opposite eye. Most people use this eye when they're right-handed, and I
Yeah.
use this one.
All right, I'm gonna try and
But
redeem myself.
I've got kind of a knack for shooting revolvers, though. I don't know why.
Go ahead and talk about it, Wes.
Talk about what?
The pistol. How did it make you feel
Well,
as a human being?
pretty crummy, actually. It felt like my hands were way too small. Getting the opposite hand. Here, let me hold that real quick. When I was gripping the gun, I was basically holding the gun like so, with my strong hand, and then with my opposite hand, I was like putting my third finger in here and trying to wrap the rest of my hand around the gun like this, and then I was actually using my left hand to cock the hammer. But it felt really, really weird. Like you can't get a very good grip on it with your right hand, and you can't get a very good grip on it with your left hand. The only reason I shot it like I did is because I don't know, I guess I've got a thing for revolvers. I was able to shoot the LCR really well. I can shoot my Indiana Jones gun really well. It was just a matter of getting it in between these very inconvenient sights that are on this thing and then putting the proper amount of pressure on the trigger. But that was hard to do with the way the grip on this thing is set up. There's too much space right here to get a very good grip on it. So then there's not enough space on the other side to do the same thing. So then it's like, do you hold it like this? Do you hold it like this? And you can't really get your other finger in there because the cylinder is moving. So you're just kind of screwed on this gun no matter what you do. It's just...
You found the magic formula, though. You went 5 for 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could have gone 6
I went 1 for 6.
Well, I missed the first one because I was shooting way low, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And then the next one, it's like, okay, well, if I'm going low, then I'm just going to use the sights.
Yeah.
And then I just
See,
dialed right in on it.
I have a theory, and I want to test it real
Okay,
quick.
let's see what happens here. Way high.
Okay.
Still way high. Still high.
See, I don't know what you're doing with your eyes.
Still high.
Are
you lining this up with the top of this? The top of this needs to be flush with the top of this.
Yeah.
Still high. I don't know.
I don't know what you're doing with your eyes. Okay, you said you aim with your off eye?
Yes. I don't think that should really make a difference, though. That was a
worse.
little bit to the right.
Dang it. I don't know what he's doing with his eyes. I shoot a lot of guns. I'm holding it dead on, and it's still not happening.
Don't know. Anyway, that's a very inconvenient gun to fire.
But
I
it
got
looks
3
cool.
left. You do the
It's
outro.
interesting.
And I can't say that I'm a huge fan of it, but it is very funky. It is
Yeah.
the funkiest gun we've shot today by a long shot. Still high.
Doggone it.
There you go.
Yeah, to hit
just to the
that,
right.
I aim below the target.
Don't know.
Gunny's fine. Wes is broken.
Anyway, our thoughts on this very funky Schofield. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
Conversation piece.